Good evening and welcome, folks, to the Voice of College Football's USC Postgame Live. Well, what a game. Trojans have gone to 9-1 for the first time won 9 games for the first time since 2017 in the Rose Bowl year. So it's a pretty exciting game. USC covered the spread despite a bizarre, wild, crazy 3-2 start to the game that had everyone wondering, is this baseball? But a catastrophic injury to Travis Dye that we'll see how that affects the rest of the season. So, folks, this is a show that we want to hear what you guys have to think about the USC game tonight. So we've put the link in the description as well as in the chat. So just give it a click. And we want to hear you guys call in. You can also engage with us in the chat. We'll be monitoring that. Or you can hit us up direct messages on Twitter, especially if you're watching this tomorrow morning or during the week after the game. And if you have questions that you want the group to answer, you can do either a super chat or you can communicate directly with Venmo or PayPal. So that helps support the channel and makes a huge difference for Mark and the Voice of College Football community. So without further ado, let's dive in. We've got LBC Trojan here. LBC, you were live at the game. What'd you think?
Hey, hello, Tony. How we doing?
We're doing well. It was a little slow start, a little baseball start, some wildness, and certainly really, really sad to see Travis Dye go down. But
yeah,
we stomped him. We took the win, and I'll tell you the thing that really stood out to me, LBC. And I mean, I know I'm partial because Yay Sigma Chi, but Miller Moss looked awesome tonight, I thought too. And one of the things I thought was really important for our team is that we know that our second stringers can do it. I thought that they showed they really could.
Yeah, I mean, that was, like you said, Tony, it was a little bit weird of a start. We got that safety, which, hey, anything that the defense can give us, that's what I was thinking was great. But the first quarter was just unusual, to say the least. It looked like our offense was the one that was struggling and not the defense. And to get towards the first quarter and to be down 3-2 was a little bit disconcerting, but at the same time, I knew we'd be fine. The one thing I really loved that I saw throughout the game is we were committed to the run. We weren't committed in the last few games, and I think they realized, and we ran the ball, and that set up everything else. And you brought the point. It's unfortunate. Travis Dye, the heart and the soul of this team, and to see the cart go out there and everybody on the USC sideline was out there encircling Travis Dye. So it wasn't good. I think I heard from you that Pete Arbogast, the USC announcer, mentioned that.
I think Tim said that. I don't listen to him.
Oh, Tim. Okay, Tim. Yeah, Tim mentioned that I believe it was a break. But I don't know what the official word or if they said anything on the broadcast.
Yeah, they didn't. They have not confirmed anything. I'll tell you something that really stood out to me, LBC. I don't know if you saw this. While he was down, you guys saw the whole USC team surround the cart and to wish him well. Colorado players came over, and I mean, remember, Travis Dye played for Oregon for several years. These guys know him, and the Oregon players pushed their way through to wish him well. And even Mike Stanford, the interim acting head coach for Colorado, pushed his way in to wish him well. I thought it was a really, really classy display, and Buffs fans should be proud of that.
Yeah, and when the cart left the field, it goes up to the tunnel, and just outside the tunnel is the thundering herd. And these are a bunch of crazy USC fans that stand throughout most of the game, and you could hear the roar of the crowd get louder as the cart was going towards the tunnel, because everybody was paying their respects to Travis Dye, because they know that that's probably the last time that we're going to see him playing for USC. I mean, that's probably a very good chance of that happening. So you hate to see that. That guy gained so much respect and love. And
a huge leader in gluing this new team together.
Yeah. But it was good to see Rayleigh Brown have a breakout game. Obviously, Austin Jones running the rock. And at the end, I was wondering what happened to Darwin Barlow. Darwin Barlow, it was him and Keontae Ingram last year. Darwin Barlow, a transfer from TCU.
Yeah.
And then Barlow quickly moved down to the third spot. And then with the emergence of Relique Brown in spring ball, Darwin Barlow was nowhere to be found. He only had a few carries all year. And it was good to see him at the very end, get a touchdown there.
Definitely. He looked great, and Miller looked awesome, I thought.
Miller looked fantastic. I was waiting for a hookup between him and Kyle Ford, kind of like they did in spring ball. It just didn't happen. But, boy, Miller looked great. And I think I called it on the Pac-12 live chat show. I said, hey, fourth quarter, it's going to be Miller time. And certainly that was a good thing.
Well, obviously, you can't see it. We've added Miller to our scoreboard picture here.
Oh, I see it right there. Yeah, there we go. Number 7.
There he is. We gave him some love.
Yeah. Great graphics. You are the master.
Hey, it's already saved. I just pasted him in. We got to respect the guys. He may even live in my house. I don't even know. I'm not sure if he lives in the house or not. And hey, all right, guys, we got our first caller of the night. We got Utah fan Larry Pilgrim. Larry, what'd you think of the SC game tonight?
I thought you guys looked really good. Pretty shocked at the depth. You guys got some pretty good backups in there, even after the first stringers came out. So a little sluggish to start, but once they got clicking, looked pretty good.
Yeah, I was pleased with them. We needed that. We needed a game we could get those guys in and get them some game experience. Because, we saw Travis go down. God forbid if Caleb goes down, it's Miller time.
Is Rick still online?
Yes, I am.
Yep, Rick's
Hey,
here.
Rick, I got a question. So I watched it from my TV, and I couldn't tell. Is Caleb not doing reads? Like, I noticed a lot of everything was ad lib with him. Was the reads covered, or is he just? It was hard to tell.
I think there was a difference in the third quarter, late second quarter, third quarter. He seemed to get his rhythm, and I don't know if the guys were open or he just was holding on to the ball too long because he just didn't get a good look. I don't know really what it was. It was kind of hard to tell from being at the game, but he looked a lot better late second quarter, third quarter. In fact, he had a run where he ran for a first down. He had 17 yards, and he didn't hesitate. He pulled the ball down. He went north and south, and he got a first down. But before that, he was, he had a couple sacks. He was hesitating. I don't know exactly what it was, but he seemed to figure it out as the game went on.
Okay, yeah, because the screen, they didn't have it. You couldn't see downfield, and it was hard to tell if the receivers were covered. And he's been pretty smart. He doesn't throw a lot of picks, so you're just going. He's being smart. The offensive line, I'm actually very impressed with your guys' offensive line.
They did pretty well. They had a couple of hiccups. We had
a lot of hiccups early, I thought.
Yeah, we were missing Haskins. We were missing who else were we missing? No, I think it was just Haskins. But Murphy was playing for Haskins. But they had a couple of errors, but for the most part, they played a pretty good game. And I just think that Caleb didn't want to force anything downfield. And credit to the secondary for Colorado for giving Caleb Williams that pause to throw the ball downfield.
Yeah. Anyway, congrats. Looked like USC just was on another level. Colorado shouldn't have been on the same field from what I could see here in Florida. So, congrats.
Rick, tell us about this
while.
Go ahead.
What was that, Tony?
No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that I really loved the defense. With about 8 minutes left to go in the second quarter, on the same drive, Thule had a sack. He deflected a pass, and then he forced a fumble. So, again, Tulipo That's his 10th sack of the year. He still leads the country going into tomorrow in sacks. He was leading the country at 9. But he really just ignited the defense. And then, I mean, Corey Foreman even had a tackle for loss. I mean, I looked at it, and I was with my brother and a few friends. I said, oh, my God, there's Corey Foreman. And then the play went off, and he had a tackle for loss. I think it was 2 yards. It's like, my God, there's Corey Foreman. And then the next play, he stopped a run for a short gain. So it was good to see him, finally make a contribution with the defense. And then Kalen Bullock flashed. He's amazing. I was talking to my friend Rick and my brother. I was just saying, this guy is a freshman All-American, and he can go sideline to sideline. And he had that interception, and it was pretty amazing. I don't think the quarterback even saw him, and he went to the right sideline, towards the USC sideline, picked that ball off, and it was great to see it. It turned the momentum and kept USC's positive momentum going.
Hey, Rick, what did you think? I'm just chatting with Roger Dodger on this right now. What did you think of Will Rose getting in there on the 2-pointer?
That was awesome. I liked that play call. That was unbelievable. We saw that just totally develop. And then to pull off the Simone Biles perfect backflip and stick in the end zone. And then it's only perfect that the no fun Pac-12 refs threw the flag, because USC can't have fun like that. But you know what?
When you do let's be honest, when you do the backflip, you know you're going to get the flag, but you're okay with it.
That's okay, because you know what? The Pac-12 refs took another 5 or 7 minutes of my life in reversing 3 calls. Right? You know it's bad with the Pac-12 refs when I have to go into the StreamYard settings and add like an hour to when we're supposed to go live. Yeah. That's what I'm like. Thanks, Pac-12 refs. But in all honesty, there was a lot of stuff I thought overturned, but I thought that because we rip on Mike Mothershed and we rip on Mark Dottie, who are just terrible, but I thought this crew did a pretty good job in the game by and large. They could have done it maybe an hour faster. Yeah, no, these guys were a lot better than Mothershed. There was, and that's the thing with instant replay. Everything happens fast out there, and there just happened to be 3 calls that went against USC, but they reviewed it, and hey, they owned up to it,
and they fixed it.
They fixed it. So it was fine, because those were, critical calls, and they kept the drive alive, and it kept the game moving on. So what were some of the things that stood out to you from watching it on the broadcast, Tony, that you liked?
So I mean, they played really like garbage, I thought, in the first half, especially on offense. What I liked is they held it together and they got it back together, and then they did fine. And I thought that I'm a big believer in practicing overcoming adversity. Mm-hmm. And they did that. When they were losing 3-2 at first, and we were all and my phone was blowing up with everyone going, is this a baseball game? Is this a baseball game? All of you who sent it, I love you, but like 40 of you, I literally probably got 30 people messaging me, is this a baseball game? Which is like not exaggerating, which is really funny. But I thought that the ability to be like, okay, let's shake it off and come back from that. That's what the Pete Carroll teams used to do. Yes. They used to be able to overcome that adversity, sort of shake it off, and come back and score 1 million points and do great. And we just did that. So I have very few complaints. I think if Gentry's in there, we just destroy this team. I mean, we kind of did destroy this team. I mean, we beat the spread against Colorado. Let's take that for a minute. But I think if Gentry's in there, we do it more solidly. I thought Addison looked like he maybe wasn't all the way back and ready yet. Kayla looked really rusty at the beginning of the game. I don't know why, but you know what? You're glad you have this against Colorado. Lincoln Riley says, and I think he's so right in this. He says, winning is hard.
Yes.
And this team is 9-1, guys. This team, who we said 8-4 would be hallelujah, a miracle, is 9-1.
And I'm glad to be wrong. I said 8-4, and part of that was knowing how thin our defense was, and injuries are part of the game. And unfortunately, we had a major one today, but I feel confident moving forward with Austin Jones. He really balled out. And then Relique Brown, his emergence tonight, you saw him flash. And he took it to the house. And then obviously Darwin Barlow. And we're going to need those guys against UCLA, and which is fine because they don't have a lot of film on those guys. And they're going to have to figure out those three. And it was good seeing Taj Washington again. Taj Washington with a long, touchdown after a short pass, yards after catch.
Yeah, he looked great in that.
He looked great in that. So
I'll tell you, Rick. I don't know if you can see our chat is a little surly tonight.
I
don't know. Did they not realize that we're 9-1 and we just beat the spread?
Well, hey,
I don't know what they want. The thing is, guys,
back of a car. Why don't you give me
be glad you're not reading it, because I'm just kind of laughing at these folks, because I'm like, guys, this is everything we could have asked for. We're 9-1. Our second team plowed past them. I mean, Colorado's not a very good team. Colorado was playing hard tonight.
So Tony, give me a little flavor here. What's being surly in the chat? What are they talking about?
Just the folks that all think we should have won 87-0. I mean, it's not really realistic.
You know what that is? Hey, it's 55-17.
Yeah.
You know
That's
what?
A slaughter.
That's kind of poetic for some of these young bucks that are talking smack that they don't know what they're.
Oh, did we lose LBC?
That was called a butt whipping against Oklahoma back in the 2004-2005 national championship. So the fact that we didn't give you the score that you wanted, my God, maybe you're a little butthurt because you took Colorado on the points. All right, we covered the spread. I love this because the jealousy is coming back, the national hatred. And
it's so there. Guys, Rick, I didn't tell you who I was watching with, did I?
Who are you watching with?
I was watching on my TV, but I had the live stream on with the No Truck Stops team.
Okay.
And they're hysterical. They're awesome and hysterical. And by the way, just for anybody who's wants to hate on Oregon, Oregon's basketball team tonight got their asses handed to them by UC Irvine at home.
My brother showed me the score on his phone, and I'm like, oh my God. I couldn't believe it. Yeah,
it was awesome.
Going up to, oh my God, taking apart the Ducks. Where's our friend Ben? Hey, you know what? We can't speak because we lost the Florida Gulf Coast, but it's pretty sweet.
You guys, Huddles got violated tonight by the anteater snout. So sorry, Puddles. Connor's asking about Travis Dye. Connor, we don't know. We've heard rumors it was a knee. We heard it was a broken leg. We don't know the answer, but Travis Dye, we would assume is probably done for the season. Again, we don't have confirmation of anything. The team doesn't release that kind of stuff anyway. But upset they bet. Gixxer Squid says they're upset they bet the over for Q1. Yeah, Q1 was one of those weird. I mean. Because if we did quarter one in quarter four, nobody would even think about it. It was just we were a little concerned. Puddles is the duck for somebody who's asking.
Yeah. So
the Death Star
we took
is
care of
almost
business.
complete.
We're 9-1, and we did what we had to do tonight, and we move forward. We go to the Rose Bowl next week to play UCLA, and I think there's a lot of positives that you can take out of this. I think the special teams played pretty well. We had a long return by Relique Brown, I think some 40 yards. Will Rose did what he did. Dennis Lynch, boss baby, converted on all his field goals and extra points. And so I don't think Colorado had any significant punt returns or kickoff returns. USC almost did get one punt blocked.
Okay, hold on. We have people that are being obnoxious, so they're getting timed out. I just timed out whoever decided to go. It's the duck. It's not Puddle. Yeah, Puddles is the old name, and they interchangeably use them both. So you're timed out for being whiny and annoying. Sorry, you're probably a nice person though. Anyway, sorry. We love you all. All right, we've got Tim. Are you joining us? I think Tim has just gotten in. I want to hear Tim's take, and I want to hear from you guys what it was like at the game, because the crowd I thought was surprisingly small and seemed a bit out of it.
Oh, I thought it was a fun crowd. We had a good time.
Was it fun?
Yeah.
It's hard to tell because it's hard to tell from the broadcast sometimes.
My guess, there's probably 50,000 people there.
Tim is waving at us for something. Okay. Tim, just join whenever you're ready.
So, not a great night to have a game. It's here in Southern California. It's a CIF Southern Section playoffs.
Oh, I'm sorry, Tim. Tim, welcome.
I didn't know sign language for read the private chat.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Tim, tell us about the game experience. What was it like at the game tonight? How was the crowd, the energy?
Exactly how it's been all year. Relatively flat, but excited when we score touchdowns. It was pretty good.
We did score a lot of touchdowns.
Yeah.
You guys in the chat. What did you guys think? Those of you guys watching, a couple of you were there. Tell us what you think. Gixer says check DM for crowd photos. Where did you DM me? Oh, did you? Gixer, I'm checking right now. I can probably share them. What about how's the whole thing with the DJ and the band going?
Wasn't really noticeable any issues. I thought it was fine. Between the DJ and the band, it's a normal kind of gig. It was fun. It was a good time. I got up and I was doing a YMCA. I think it was the fourth quarter, and we were having a blast. So everybody was happy because we were kicking butt, and it was a good time.
And thanks to Gixer Squid for sending those. Here, I'll put them in. As you guys talk really quick, I'll throw them in the chat for everybody. What about Tim? You were listening to Arbogast. What did he say about Die?
Oh, and I only listened to a little bit about it, but basically the situation, there was comments about that there's an aircast that was used, and unfortunately the way the players went down, I'm sometimes you're hoping it's a break, because a break's gonna be better, a lot of times, than having a knee injury get torn up. There's no word out. I tried to listen to on the way back a little bit of them, Arbogast and Sean Cody, but I mean they have no information. I did hear he was going to the hospital, so I mean
he was on the
sidelines though in crutches. So I mean,
yeah, and he's standing with Katie Ryan, who runs communications.
So I don't. Always, I don't think we'll hear anything for a while. I think they'll let us know when down the road sometime. But there'll be a lower leg injury probably, and they'll just tell us when they feel like it. All year long, it's been really quiet when it comes to injuries. But this one, if it's a season ending, I think they'll let us know if it's season ending, which it obviously looks like it is.
Yeah, I would given how late we are in the season. Thanks to Gixer Squid actually for sending these in real quick. Looks at the crowd. So we got the home side look pretty solid. Looking here at the other side, where it looks like a decent crowd, especially for a Friday night. Looks pretty kind of weak in the corners. But remember, guys, those are some of the worst seats in football, like in all of college football. So it's really no surprise that they're not full.
Crowd was pretty sparse.
They are further away from the field than. Yeah, those guys, remember, those seats are further away from the field than literally any seat in the entire Big Ten or Pac-10. There is no stadium. We'd have to check Miami, but I don't think there's any stadium in the country that has further away seats than those from the field. So I'm not shocked. Yeah, we got folks in the chat are saying really bummed out for Travis Dye. We totally agree with you guys.
Yeah, that stole all of the fun of the second half. I mean, it really came alive, but I'm just sitting in that seat thinking about that guy who came down here from Oregon.
You could hear the silence on TV.
He came down here from Oregon and poured his heart in his team. Was really a team guy. Just did everything right. I mean, the one thing that USC is going to miss, of course, they're going to miss his running. we're gonna miss, man. I can't count how many times on third down he's making along the sidelines, making a great contested catch for a first down on a third down, or just the great blocks, just depleter blocks he's had all year on guys rushing. We had a bunch of guys that they got some free runs early on. There's some music going.
What?
They got a couple like free runs early on in the game. They shored that up a little bit, which was a bit worried. And then Caleb was off a little bit early on in the game. I think it was the first drive or second drive. I can't remember, but you had Brendan Rice with about 2 or 3 steps on that guy. Could have just ran right into the end zone, but he missed him on that short, on that interception. That was a rough beginning of that game.
I think we got a good point here from Herman Lynn. Points out UCLA will be tough, but ND will not keep up with USC's offense. Herman, I think you're right. I don't think Drew Pine and company are going to be able to score enough points on us, and I think our offense is just going to blow past them. And Roger Dodger points out Dye's our best running back all around. We still have a pretty solid running game, and I mean it was against Colorado, but they continue to do fine and run the ball. And I think, particularly if we can get a couple of the offensive line, get a little more of our full regular offensive line back, we'll be in a lot better shape.
Yeah, who knows what's going to happen with Gentry? I like the way the defense played tonight. There was, we had some push, we had some sacks. Obviously, Caleb Bullock's interception, Tooley's forced fumble. And so they were getting after the quarterback.
Yeah. And so this guy, I don't know who this is, who keeps freaking out about Andy will shred our hole over the middle. Yeah, that's because we're missing Gentry. We're literally missing the guy that Eddie Rainier calls the angry giraffe with the greatest wingspan of any linebacker in the country. So you know what? That will be filled pretty well if he comes back. And if he doesn't come back, we'll see what happens. But I don't think Drew Pine is going to shed anything. Drew Pine isn't going to shred anything other than maybe like his own rear end on the ground.
Well, Notre Dame is going to have its way running the ball with us, and that's what they're going to do. They're going to make us stop the run. But at the same time, Drew Pine is going to have to step up and make some passes if he's going to keep up with his team. And Drew Pine is going to leave the Coliseum in a pine box because he's not going to be able to close it. He's going to throw a few INTs and ain't going to be shaking down any thunder or waking any echoes in LA. That's in South Bend. That's in South Bend, baby. So come and bring it. Come and bring it with your SoCal, Notre Dame, Irish faithful. We'll be ready for you.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think you're right.
But first,
and Alex is saying Gentry should be back for UCLA.
He will be back. He's going to be back. And that guy, hey, I don't have any information, but that guy from his attitude and what a leader he is, he's been all year. And for him to limp out of that tent at Rice Eccles and basically motivate his team to finish, he's been working 24/7 to rehab and get back. And I think if there's any chance for him to get on the field against UCLA, he'll be there.
I think you're right. Looking at the D-Max says love the Miller time. Yeah, D-Mac, we agree with you. We think that was really important for the team most of all. Like it's not just that he was great and I'm sure he'll be celebrating tonight, but our team needed some time for those guys to get in there.
One of the things I like too is that early in the game, Brendan Rice had a couple drops the first series. Second pass, a little dink past him, and he dropped it. There was that interception where, basically he had the ball and there was a wrestling match down on the ground and he did not win that wrestling match. And then he had another drop. And so I like the fact that Caleb Williams went to Kyle Ford, and Kyle Ford made like 3, passes in a row. He basically, had 3 receptions in a row. And I like the fact that Caleb Williams realized that, hey, it wasn't there for him and Rice, and he went to Ford. And Ford's a big target, and he was making some key catches. In the
Rice was huge on. Ford was huge on those third 18 play. That one drive.
Ford rescued us twice on those.
And then they dropped the ball off in the corner. he had that nice play also for the 40-yarder that picked up that set up that touchdown. I mean, it felt like they got 150 yards on that drive. They must have had 35 yards in penalties as well on that drive. They just kept going, but they kept picking up those 3rd and long. But Rice made up for it. He had some pretty good plays down the stretch. He ended the game with 3 catches for 70 yards and a touchdown. And so, I mean, he did make amends for it. That first one, I'm not putting that one on Rice. That first one, again, like I said, Rice was open by about 2 to 3 steps, and it was just a horribly underthrown ball by Caleb. Otherwise, that was probably a touchdown.
Yeah,
sure.
That's how it got picked. It got pitched because it was so far underthrown. He was open.
But when you go down like that, and it's a 50-50 ball, and you both have your hands on it, you have to come up with that ball. You do.
Didn't it look like he bodied it up though? Like the throw was to the DB, and then he tried to rip it away from him. I just didn't think he had the angle on it. But you got to come back. But he was at full speed as well. That was just a shame. It was a missed opportunity for both of them.
But I think the one thing it shows is Addison was out there today. He was just getting his reps. He wasn't. You could tell he was rusty. There wasn't.
He was not 100%
chemistry. Yeah,
they shut him down early.
Yeah, but the fact that you could, and there's no Mario Williams, but you could see the depth of this wide receiver room. Kyle Ford, Brendan Rice, Taj Washington. Yeah, you had Michael Jackson, and then you had Rayleigh Brown. They were featuring him, and so a great room. Lake McCree actually had a catch as well, very, very happy to see these guys get touches because UCLA and Notre Dame are going to have a lot to look at on film, and they have a lot to cover.
Yeah, I think that touchdown by Taj Washington, he was over 60 yards. That catch was what really, kind of pulled us. We were staggering a little bit, but that play, just the way he accelerated through the crowd. I mean, did you guys see how he hit the Jets? He just got in there. He got the ball. He went wham right for the end zone. That was amazing. This guy was transfer. He came in and I know that Shotgun was big on him. He's from Memphis, and he came in, and last year he showed some flashes. But starting out early this year, since the guys have been out, since we've had Addison and Mario Williams out, he's really shouldered the team as far as just being that guy when we need a big play. He's kind of made it. So I'm really glad about his emergence. It just shows more than ever just the depth we have at so many different positions, even the offensive line. I thought that would be an area where we're going to be a little bit shallow, but it looks good. The defensive line's also coming together. I mean, through 3 quarters, we put our backups in. The defense really shut them down in this game. It was really nice to see.
Yeah. And I mean, I thought getting the safety was huge. I mean, the defense I thought really played fairly well. I mean, it's Colorado. Like, this is not a good team we played tonight, but I mean, we beat what Vegas said, and we don't do that very often.
Yeah, so, it wasn't a good team, and we beat them the way we should beat a bad team. That's what was nice. It was clunky at first.
Exactly.
But they played it the way it should have been played. So I'm happy with it.
Not do it against Arizona. We did not do it against Arizona. Yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah, like you
what
said,
do you guys think? Everybody's mouthing off in the chat, but we don't have folks call it in. Let us know. Let us know what you think. Tight end delay. Give us a call. Tell us what you think. Gixer Squid, probably on the way home from the game. And thanks for sending those pictures, Gixer Squid. Yeah, Tim, Gixer sent us the pictures. I thought it was a good-looking crowd.
Yeah, that's
Friday
a
night.
very
It's a bad time.
there. There's a lot of red. If you actually look at, that's not Cardinal. Those are seats. I don't know. Early before the game, when they're doing the national anthem, there could not have been more than 10, 12,000 people in the stadium. Then it was late. It's a Friday night game, so it was a late arriving crowd, and they filtered in. But
still in traffic.
If we had 40,000 in there, I'd be surprised.
I mean, students were still in class when this game started. Well, I guess maybe not on a Friday, but. LBC, people are asking, are you upset? You're not upset, LBC. Aren't you happy with this game?
Oh no, I'm fine. And you got to take it with a grain of salt. It is Colorado. We did what we needed to do. I think the defense played well, and it's a building block for the next 2 games. So it's a confidence builder because we didn't play well the last 2 games. No, I am pleased. because I saw a lot of things that I liked in terms of the defense and staying with it all game. With Kalen Bullock, Tooley, we saw Corey Foreman. And so I'm pleased with it, and really seeing the emergence of Rayleigh Brown. So he's gained more confidence. Boy, he is just so fast. Him and Taj, you can't pick them up because they're slight, they're smaller, and once they find a crease, they're gone. And so that's another feature of the offense that I liked, and this was the game to get them some confidence going into UCLA and Notre Dame.
Yeah, and I like, Rayleigh was amazing. He just looks like, even that last one, that 40-yarder, you just expect, almost the point now where I'm expecting him, he's just so close to breaking one. I turned to my dad and said, he's just waiting for the UCLA game. That's when he's going to crack one off. I know it's going to happen. It's going to happen when these games down the stretch, because he's getting so close to breaking one on those kicks. And I don't know if you guys talked about it already, but the transfer from TCU, Darwin Barwa, he got into the game late due to the injury and stuff like that. But he made the best of what of the opportunity he had. He had 5 carries for 40. He had over 8 yards a carry in the game on 5 carries, 41 yards, and he had 2 receptions on top of that. I heard those on the radio and was on the way out of there. But he's shown flashes. I thought he'd get a better look this year. I mean, obviously we know why with Dye in there, but man, last year I liked what I saw from him last year, and in this game he's showing me what I liked about him. So it's gonna be interesting.
We got a good point here from Mark. Mark says RB2 seems better. Thoughts? Yeah, I thought all the backups really looked pretty good.
Let's make no mistake about this. No, Travis Dye is a massive loss for USC.
Absolutely.
Forget who 100%. He is in the locker room. Forget who 100%. He is as a leader. I'm talking about him on the actual field. I lost track of the blocking and the catching. His ability to catch the ball on third down. We're talking contested catches. You mean running backs make catches out of the flat and wide open if you get it right, hit him right in the chest. This guy's going up against DBs and linebackers and actually making contested catches, which is for a running back is usually not their strong suit. So we're gonna miss him a lot.
And he gets a lot of yards after contact that other people don't.
Yes, always falling
forward. He is
right?
a tough guy, and he is a huge. I agree. Melon Maurice says a massive loss. I agree with you guys. I think he's a huge loss, but at the same time, I also thought that our backups played better than I feared.
Oh yeah, for sure. They're studs.
Both those things, like multiple things being true here, not undermine that we have a catastrophic loss, but at the same time, we did have guys I thought step up pretty well. Dave points out Dye was a stud for Oregon too. Tim, I don't think you were with us. We were talking about one thing that really, really stood out to me was the respect for Travis Dye when he got hurt from the Colorado players and coaches. I don't know if you guys could see from the stadium, but Mike Sanford came over and was talking to him on the injury card.
Yeah, I couldn't see it from the stands, but just everybody was took a knee like that's why I'm like, oh shit, something's wrong.
When you see the other team's head coach come over to your injured player on the cart and spend some time talking to him, like that's I love CU because I have cousins that went there. I have tons of friends that went there. But as there was some taunting in this game. We had Will Rose doing a backflip. We had some fun stuff. But at the same time, I thought the CU players were classy about it. And in that moment, I give all my respect to Colorado for that.
Yeah, I just really want to see how this team's going to respond to a team leader. I mean, we know Caleb's a great leader, but I just have to believe, a veteran guy like Dye, a selfless guy like Dye, how's this team going to respond if they're down against UCLA, if they're down against Notre Dame, or if we make it to the Pac-12? Missing that guy there, just knowing you give him the ball, it's third and short. I mean, let's face it, 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, we're like first down. You know what I mean? That's how I've been all year long with Travis Dye, finding the hole, just getting those yards we need. The other issue is you got Young. So, I mean, Rayleigh Brown is showing us what a study is. He'd be on the field more. He just has to work on his blocking. You know what I mean? And then Austin Jones, I think the reason why his touches were limited the last couple of weeks is because he has missed some assignments. He's missed some blocks that have led to sacks, which, sometimes can be drive killers. But I just they're going to lose so much on the field and off the field with Travis Dye. My heart goes out to him. You know, he's by far probably my favorite player this year. It's probably not even close. And to see him go down like that and his career, man, that was kind of hard to call the fun out of this game for me.
Yeah, and I love this. Gixxer Squid, friend of the show, we love him, points out, this time last year we were essentially 500. Now we're 9-1. Jerry Rice is walking on the field. We have a Heisman candidate quarterback, and we're number 8 in the college football playoff rankings. Crazy. I agree completely. I mean, that's, you know, as much as we say, oh, we had a bad first quarter, it's the end of the world. It's not, guys. Like the team looked good. The team did what they needed to. And I give them all the credit for that. Yeah, they just I can't believe how well they're doing. And yeah, he says kudos to Dr. Folt, Mike Bone, and Riley. Yeah, all three of them. And I don't know if you guys know this, but Dr. Folt and Mike Bone actually greet each of the players as they come back in the tunnel after the game. The two of them, the president and the athletic director, stand there and say hi to the players, and she hugs the players and the coaches' kids and all that stuff. They are all in a way that's pretty impressive. Yeah. What do you guys think? Looking at tomorrow's games, UCLA, Arizona. Any chance that Arizona pulls a shocker?
Well, Rick's gone on record bold, and I mean, it can happen. I mean, I can see what Rick's thinking on that. I mean, it is doable. I just want to keep them, you know, it's been so much more fun if they're undefeated. We need Notre Dame and UCLA to keep this nice and clean, so we get game day atmosphere, so we can crush their hearts. That's what I want. I want to take their souls, and it'll take the fun out of it. You know, just like Utah. When UCLA beat Utah right before we played them, it kind of, you know, it didn't have the same feel, especially when you lose, but didn't have the same feel. I don't want that same thing to happen to UCLA right before we play them.
Yeah, I'm hedging my bet. I mean, if you look at it.
I like your pick, Rick.
This weekend, Pac-12, I mean, the smallest point spread was 8 points. And so I looked at two games that had the possibility of an upset, Washington at Oregon or Arizona, UCLA. Oregon's not losing that game to Washington. They're playing really, really well. Bo Nix is in the Heisman, running. He's playing extremely well. So I looked at it with Arizona. Arizona doesn't have defense, but here's a possible trap game for UCLA. Maybe looking towards USC. We saw what happened when they played a real game on the road. You know, up in Oregon. They did a UCLA thing. Now, obviously, this is at the Rose Bowl, and Arizona is a totally different team. I get that. I get it. Arizona doesn't have defense. But if they get in a shootout and Jaden Laura starts getting hot, and things can happen. And DTR hasn't had a DTR-like game from years ago, and he's due for a clunker. So that's what I'm looking at. I don't think that if Arizona does win, it's going to be by 3 points. It's going to be really close. But UCLA has to watch out because they're susceptible to pulling a Pac-12 type of game, a loss. We've seen it before.
Beyond that, though, Rick. Yeah. What I like is we know that DTR and that backfield can move, and Charbonnet can move the ball, and Bobo. They're gonna eat. And the thing is, the problem I'm having with looking at it is I also know that with Delora and those receivers, they are going to put up a lot of points on that UCLA defense, and I'm hoping that gives us a lot of game film. You know, because we have similar athletes on the outside and a running quarterback like Delora. I think we're going to get some really good game film, and we get to see what Fish does to this defense. I mean, that's one benefit for SC. But what you're doing is you put the underdog, what they do really well. That's when you see these upsets, right? When the underdog does something really well that the other team doesn't do very well. And so you're talking about Arizona could actually score tons of points. UCLA will give up tons of points. The only thing why I'm not fully on board with it, I'm going, I got you, Rick, is is because, man, that Arizona defense is so bad. That's the only reason why I think that UCLA is going to pull it out.
The Colorado defense is pretty bad too.
And DTR is going to have a couple turnovers to give Arizona more possessions. It's a very slim chance, but hey, I had to pick an upset. I want UCLA to be undefeated. I don't want UCLA to lose because it's going to hurt USC's chances for a better quality win. It's going to be a great game. UCLA's got to take care of business against Arizona. We'll see what happens. But I'll tell you what, I'm going to enjoy tomorrow, knowing that we've got a quality win against Colorado. They did about what I expected. I think I predicted 52-17. And what do we get? 55-19. So it's right there.
That's a good number. It wasn't 19. I know you like 55-19.
I got 55-19 in the back there. Okay. 55-17. Hey, my bad. We actually did better.
Not bad. Let's just call it 55-19 because that's a beautiful number. I like that. Hey, Tony, can you put up Alan talking about just what Rick just said, what I said earlier about the fact that we really, it's so much fun. That's the thing about the Bruins and Notre Dame. And even in the old days, Ohio State, we like to go steal people's fun. How many times have we gone there? They're on a roll and they're going to probably win this weekend, right? I want them. They're thinking they're turning it around. I want to be that team. And with UCLA, it's going to be another great game like when I was a kid. That's how long it's been. I was a kid the last time that these two teams were like really good, and they're playing for something meaningful, playing for Rose Bowls, these two teams. When was the last time that USC and UCLA played for a Rose Bowl? Not very often. And so I do want them to be undefeated so we can actually break their hearts. But yeah, Alan, we're right with you on that. I logged in off your link. I don't have access to the chat, Tony.
What did you say, Tim?
Never mind. Let's leave you pop up Alan's.
I can't right now. Sorry. I don't see it. So what do you guys think about looking ahead? Utah, Stanford. Does Stanford pull another miraculous upset?
No.
I don't think so either.
No, this is going to be a game that they're going to roll by 28 points. It's going to be cold. It's a night game, and Stanford is just bad offensively and defensively. Utah's no problems on this game.
Yeah, Utah at home beat USC. Utah home probably beats, in my opinion, Oregon and UCLA. There's no way Utah's going to lose at Stanford at home. There's absolutely zero chance. Got to be careful. Yeah. Last time there's zero chance a bad Stanford team could win. They actually won, but this is the exception. This is not going to happen.
And not only that, but you know what? Stanford deserves to lose because Stanford has still not freed the tree, and karma's a bitch. So Stanford, absolutely. You deserve to lose until you free the tree.
They're not going to have any fun until the tree is free.
They hate fun. Stanford hates fun. If anybody doesn't know, just Google Stanford hates fun. Gixxer Squid talking some smack says the tree has too many termites. Who knows? Maybe the tree's having too much fun in the dorms on its suspension. He's getting human termites. Just kidding, Jordan, if you're watching. Oregon and UW. We made our predictions on this one earlier in the week. I don't know. What do you guys in the chat think? Does Oregon have a chance to go down to UW, or do they keep rolling? By the way, hate week is strong with these two teams. These two teams cannot stand each other.
Yeah, Oregon has way too much. Bo Nix is having a heck of a year, and Penix is a great quarterback as well, but he's going to be forcing some balls. I think that he's going to have to keep up with Oregon, and it's going to be too tall of a task. I think you're going to see Oregon's pass D play a lot better than they have during the year. I think that's one area where they're susceptible. But playing at home, they're just a different team, and they're just going to have too much for Washington.
And if you're our special guest stars who are in the picture here, Why aren't either of you calling in? Because we know you're there. Uh-huh. All right. Wazoo, Arizona State. This, guys, I think this one's going to be a good game.
Tim, what do you think?
Well, I think the fact that Washington State's defense will be the difference in this game. Both of them have athletes, but I like what Dickert's doing. If we're looking at a reason, Arizona State's just kind of floating. Washington State's still playing for a decent bowl, so I think that if Washington State can play solid, I think that Washington State's a better team by far. I think Arizona's spiraling. They had a nice little bump, but they'll go back to where they are. I do think that Washington State wins this one.
Yeah. To Mark, who's saying, Zzz, hey, call in. Give us some more folks to talk to. You guys are all Notre Dame Navy.
You froze, Tony.
The guy froze for a minute.
Yeah, you're back. Did you guys talk about players of the game though for SC at all?
Am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
Yeah, I can hear you.
I'm back. And then real quick, Oregon's before last one here. Oregon State and Cal. Cal looked good yesterday. Does Cal look good against Oregon State or not? This is another one I think is going to be a really, really good showdown.
No, I think Oregon State at home at Reser, they roll. I think the teams, you play at Austin, you play at Reser, if you play Rice Eccles, the teams that they're going up against them, they should roll.
Yeah, I agree. Oregon State's going to win by 2 touchdowns.
Tony, did you guys have a chance to talk about like maybe players of the game on both sides of the ball yet?
Who do you think were the players of the game, Tim?
Yeah, who do you think, Tim?
Well, on defense, it's. I mean, you had Thule getting those 2.5 sacks. I mean, which now is going to extend the fact that he's the sack leader in the country. I'm sure that should keep it safe for him through the weekend. I think there are a number of guys that played well on defense, but Thule again is just sticking out ahead of everybody. Then on offense, I really like, even though the numbers aren't there, I just like what I saw from Ray Leak. It just seemed like he just had something special today. And given the circumstances of what happened with Dye, it was good to see him flash in that way on catching the ball, running the ball, and receiving kicks. So I would probably have to give it to him on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, I think that's a good pick. All right. Well, guys, we're going to be wrapping up in just a couple of minutes here if you guys don't call in, because we said what we thought about the games. So we want to hear what you guys have to think. Where is everybody tonight? Is it because it's Friday? I think it's because it's Friday night and it's 2 a.m. Eastern after a game that went an hour longer than it should have.
Yeah, I'm just looking.
That was a long game.
Gordon got into the game. He hasn't been playing a lot, but he got 6 tackles, 5 solo. Wow, that's.
Who'd you say?
Darian Gordon?
Yeah, he did.
He got in towards the end.
Again, these guys that are coming in and taking advantage of their opportunities. CV and Gordon, these guys are coming. It was nice to see also Goforth. It was nice to see him play. He didn't have a great amount in the game, but it was nice to see his tackling. His tackling this year is so much better. And there was a play, I can't remember when it was, but there were 2 missed tackles, and out of nowhere, here comes number 10, and just Goforth just smacked him down and brought him down. So it was good to see that their bigger back was running, and so he had a good game as well. Good to see him back. We're going to need him down the stretch.
So, gentlemen, I want to tell you here. I wrote down some notes, and I was texting you guys at the beginning of the game, and I was a little disappointed because I didn't like what I saw on that first drive. We had a 3-yard screen pass to Jordan Addison, and then there was a screen to Brendan Rice, which was a drop. And then there was a short out pass to the right sideline, the USC sideline, to Travis Dye that went over his head out of bounds. 3 consecutive passes were out. Boom, 3 and out.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, why aren't we freaking running the ball on this team? Okay. And you've heard me talk about that with Utah,
Especially this team.
with Arizona, and with Cal, especially this team. Come and make a message. And I understand, sure, you want to get Jordan Addison, you want to get him the ball, that first pass, but run the ball. And so fast forward, the game developed. The game moved on, and I'll just share some stats with you right here. USC had a total of 531 yards, and they had 20 pass plays, and they had 41 rushing attempts. Okay, 2-1. And the time of possession, 34 minutes and 30 seconds to Colorado's 25-30. So that is how you take care of business against this team. So eventually they went to the run and they stuck with the run, and it set up the pass. This is what I've been talking about. And you know what? Our defense wasn't out there in the field for an extended amount of time. A defense that has injuries. And my defensive player of the game is Tooley. Tooley set everybody else up with that one drive. He had a pass deflection, a sack, and a forced fumble. So he enabled a guy like Kalen Bullock to get that interception because the pass rush was there. The rest of the line was feeding off of Tooley in his effort.
Yeah, that's back-to-back games for Bullock too, right? Almost identical interceptions, almost identical. That guy's range going and playing the back, he goes from sideline to sideline, just amazing. His range and his length. That was just when that ball went up, I almost said, "Dude, that's gonna be picked off."
Yeah,
because he's just back there patrolling.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's what I think it's fourth. I don't know. I think it's his fourth on the season in back-to-back weeks.
So
those picks.
And during fall camp, Caleb Williams commented that that Kalen Bullock is just a freak, that he didn't realize that guy's range and how fast he could get to the sideline to sideline. And he showed that tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do like that. Again, the running, I think, Rick, was a bit heavy late in the game. You know what I mean? When they're going up against it looked like it was also their second. Their second. I think they pulled some starters as well on Colorado. I'm still in favor. I'm okay. I mean, the one thing I'm not going to question is this offense, what they've been doing. The short passing, I think we talked about this previous weeks. The short pass is the same thing as a run in modern football. And for the season, I believe USC has a narrow margin on time possession for the whole season. So it's not like our offense is scoring so fast. I would like to see our defense, when they have opportunities on third down, third and long, to stop giving up these, third and medium, right? Third and long. And that's why their butts are on the field so much. They gotta come up with some stops, because I get it when we're playing really good offenses, but this was not a really good offense. And there were points in this game where it just seemed like they couldn't get, close out those third downs. I'm really nitpicking on the defense because I think the defense had a great game. But I would like to see them again, especially against a team like Colorado, to get those 3rd and 7, 3rd and 11 stops that they should be getting.
For sure. And real quick, thank you to Mark for the super chat. We really appreciate that. That really helps Mark in the channel. So there actually is now post-game Oregon coverage. I think, do they do it the next day though, instead of right after the game?
They did, and I'll tell you what, I was there, and Ben is doing a great job. The numbers are really good for his show the other day, and
Exploring with Ben and Sam does it, and Ben's a really great guy.
And if you're not tuning into that, you guys are missing out, because I mean, he knows a lot about college football in general, but when he's talking Ducks, it's gonna be hard to find someone that doesn't know the Ducks as well as he does. So you gotta go check him out.
Definitely check him out. Really great guy. Gixxer Squid points out, and I think we maybe mentioned this a little bit ago. I don't think we hit it exactly like this. He makes a great point. Can we acknowledge Caleb's passion before the half, and Coach Riley's willingness to let other players get TV time? Absolutely. And I'll tell you, actually, on that, the no truck stops people, because I was watching the game, sort of listening to them as they were watching as well. And they were like, why is he yelling? I was like, he's getting the team fired up. Like, I mean, I thought it was great.
Hey, 66 had a question. Did Jordan Addison seem healthy? No, he didn't seem near 100%.
I didn't think so.
He only had 1 catch for 2 yards. And when he was out there, it just didn't seem like he was making a difference, if that makes any sense with a guy like that. I'm kind of glad maybe they did just get him out there so he can get some reps, but just something didn't look right. And then when I saw in the third, I think it was, I don't know when I texted you, Rick, but it was late third quarter, maybe. I can't remember. That he just, I saw him put his helmet away and stuff, that he was done for the day. So it looked like,
real quick to Mark. Just real quick, Mark in the chat asking, it said he didn't know about the Oregon show. I think it's on, if you look up Voice of College Football Oregon channel. And you guys, a lot of you guys are fans of different teams and are just watching us right now just because it's 2 a.m. and we're here. But if you go check out Mark Rogers' Voice of College Football has channels for, I think, what are there, guys? 20 different channels for 20 different teams or something. And a lot of them all do post-game shows. So for your team, definitely check it out and subscribe. And if you turn on notifications, then they'll tell you when they're going live. Which really really is a neat feature, and they all do really, really good stuff.
Paul Vaughn says USC will beat UCLA and Notre Dame if they run the ball first. Those are 2 teams. Well, I'll speak to Notre Dame first. That front 7 for Notre Dame is solid. And losing Travis Dye, that might change things as well. But I will tell you about both of those secondaries. Both Notre Dame and UCLA secondaries are not anything to write home about. I think that is going to be a pass-heavy game for both of those.
I think the running game set up Caleb's 2 rushing touchdowns. I think those were fabulous play calls. I think we were like within the 3-yard line, and I was glad that we ran the ball at that point versus trying to force a pass in the tight spots when you don't have some of your best receivers, and asking guys to step up and catch a touchdown pass in a tight zone. So because the run was successful, those RPOs were, it was basically just, Caleb Williams walking into the end zone. So I think that doesn't happen unless they're respecting the run.
Well, the issue with that is they were not taking, like, he walked in on that read option. They were just, they were selling out to try to stop the run. And he literally just, the second one especially, he just kind of walked right in. The first one was kind of contested, but the second one, it seemed like it was there all day. And the O-line surge, it's so refreshing. Something's been missing probably since maybe 2016. Just a big, and I underscore nasty. These guys finish blocks and they drive guys into. If you're watching the line play, these guys are just driving guys back and driving them into the ground. It's that they're big and they're nasty, and I'm really enjoying watching the offensive line this year. Yeah,
and they get a charge out of blocking for the running game, and you could tell it right there on the goal line. Both of those RPOs with Caleb Williams scoring. I mean, he had a great night tonight too, but quietly. He accounted basically for 5 touchdowns. He had 3 passes. He had 2 rushing, and he did have an interception, but he didn't play the fourth quarter at all, which was fantastic because we didn't want him to play the fourth quarter, even more so after Travis Dye got hurt. Anything can happen in this game. And, he took a couple sacks and he was taken down.
This is his third game in a row, right?
Caller.
He counted for 5 touchdowns, 3 games in a row. It's just amazing.
We got a caller. We got Austin Williams joining us. Austin, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys.
Austin, what did you think of the game tonight?
On the win. Congratulations on the win over Colorado. It was gut-wrenching to see Travis Dye go down. He's a great athlete, and he will be missed here at USC and in that offense. But I think USC tonight did what they were supposed to. They beat up on a bad Colorado team. You got to see a lot of your second and third string guys. Got to see what y'all have for the future. And I know you all pointed out several times the defense played really well tonight, including Toure, I believe is what his name. He was a monster out there.
He's great.
He was everywhere. I think he's going to be a star for USC, or if he's not one already.
Yeah,
You say Thule?
But yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
Thule's a beast.
And up his frag points that out as well. He says, "How about Thule's stats for the partial game tonight? Props to Coach Nua for developing him into a first rounder."
Yeah, and that's a great point. Because Nua is going to be the reason why I cannot wait. We get 10 plus wins this season. It's going to be the Christmas is going to keep on coming for USC. It looks like obviously we are going to get at least 10 wins. There was a lot of uncertainty in the transfer portal and a lot of uncertainty when it came to recruiting. But this is going to be a full year of recruiting coming up. And I think the transfer portal, I think is going to be limitless. It's going to be, I really think we're going to pull in some big, kind of like what Alabama's doing, pulling in the pieces they need, not shedding, and getting cast-offs, actually going in and getting top players that are going to want to come to USC because there's going to be starting time. This defense is clearly struggling. They're going to lose Tui Pelotu. He's going to the NFL. He's not staying around for another year. He's gone, I think. And I really think there's what Nua's doing on the defensive line. I really want to see, Corey Flash, right in front of LBC's plush seats, right in front of a 10-yard line. He had that amazing tackle for loss.
LBC's got good. You guys. LBC has good seats. LBC's got some good seats.
I'm like, dude, that happened. I do it. It was right in front of where your seats are. I'm like, he has to be more consistent. He showed why. Like I texted Rick. I'm like, this is why we're all excited about the number 0 getting out there. Yep. He showed so much athleticism on that play and blew it up and made a great tackle. You know what I mean? A lot of times we're seeing he comes in, he won't break down and make the tackle. He gets juked or blows right past him. He just got that guy, and we just need that consistency for him because he has the athletic ability. And I'm hoping that Nua gets his teeth into him, gets him going down the stretch here, so we can have more to sell.
So I have a question for you, gentlemen. Jordan Addison, I know you touched on it, said he didn't look as ready as he should have. Does that concern you that he was out there tonight?
Let me rephrase that. I wouldn't say as he should have. I think they were just getting him back in the swing of things more than anything.
Yeah.
I don't know that it's like, should, I don't think it's the right word. I would say they had him out there. He made a couple plays, didn't really do much. And as I think Tim noticed, he actually took his helmet off and put his helmet away. Wasn't going to play anymore. I think he's still coming back from that injury for sure.
Yeah, because
I don't know who it was.
You don't want to.
I listen to so many SC. There's so many great SC people out there. I don't know who it was.
If you talk smack about my fraternity brothers, I'm sending you a virus.
Someone said something on one of the talk shows. If it was Keeley and Kessler, or if it was Michael and Alicia, or if it was Shotgun Spradling, somebody said that they thought he was going to be on a pitch count.
Yeah,
it was 66 dude. Just put his 66 dude, 66 lucky dude. Perfect wording. Addison was getting sea legs back.
Yeah. So what's
great description. Pitch count also good description.
Probably had 15 to 20 plays, and this was ideal because now we're going to get to see how he feels tomorrow, how he's going to get to recover. But you'd rather have him out there today against Colorado to get back, like 66 dude said, get his sea legs back versus doing it in a big game like UCLA. So now he's going to see how does he recover, and what does he need to do to get himself ready for UCLA? Can he go against UCLA? We don't know that. We don't know how he's going to feel tomorrow, and if it's just not going to be again, because the difference in competition, Colorado versus UCLA, the windows are going to be tighter. Your cuts have got to be tighter. And if he's not able to go, then he's not going to go. And we've got other guys that can step up, but he's going to ultimately have to make that decision with the coaching staff.
Yeah, I agree. If he's not 100%, we have guys that should be out there. And anyone's ever had a nasty ankle sprain, I don't care how much you tape it or whatever you do, that thing's going to hurt, and it stiffens up on you. So obviously, I'm sure he has great training staff to do it. But if he's not 100%, we have the guys. They've shown up for the last 3 weeks that they can get it done.
Well, the thing with ankle injuries too is they're really easy to re-injure. So that's why I was a little curious. Like for tonight's game, he could have easily done a like a wheel route or something, and just happened to slip and twist it back, and that's why it's always concerning when I see those kind of things. Like because it's just easier to injure with your ankles and your calves and your knees because those are need to be more your limbo part of your bodies, and he needs to be healthy because USC is going to need him coming down the stretch with 2 important games coming up.
Definitely. And guys, let's welcome D-Mac to the show. D-Mac, welcome.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
We
Loud
can.
and clear.
Awesome. Hey, dude, I thought it was a great game. Slow, awkward start, blame Friday night. But that safety was like the first sign that our defense is getting their act together. And I thought that was exceptional. It was good to see Goforth back. He was really effective in his return. Can't wait to get that angry giraffe back in the middle.
I know we need it, don't we?
I love calling him that too. That's literally my wife's nickname for me, and she drew me a comic strip to make fun of me.
That's awesome. Tell your wife we like her already. She sounds awesome.
She is, man. I also like that. I thought a lot of players got a chance tonight. Look, Foreman's had a lot of chance all season long, but it was good to see him like he was fired up and getting that TFL. I was really wondering all season long why Dye's great. We love Dye. Don't take anything away from Dye, but I thought we were going to have kind of a I can't say thunder and lightning package, but that we might see a little bit more of Austin this year, and we haven't. And I was wondering if he wasn't showing up in practice or what it was. But you see, when he got his chance this game, he did it.
Yeah, I like the way one thing I like about Austin is that he goes, and when he plants his foot and he cuts, he goes, and he seems like a load. But I think his problem was, and we've been talking about it a couple times on the show, he's been missing some blocks. You know what I mean? And that's how you get in the doghouse. Is if you're not picking up those blocks, if you don't know your assignments on that blocking, and that's the same reason I think is keeping the freshman phenom off the field in Ray League Brown, because freshmen, it takes them a while. There's little nuances, not knowing where it's going to come from. Sometimes that's what takes them the time. They know which hole to hit, but when it comes to that pass blocking, that's the thing usually I think takes a little bit of time.
Yeah, the other thing with Raleek, is that as a freshman, we see it a lot, right? But guys got to learn to run north and south, all this east and west. And you heard Petros made that comment about him trying to get to the outside, and Petros said, the D is showing him that it's not that easy at this level. Sometimes you just got to go for it. I feel like, but
Petros
he is lightning, right? I mean, Raleek is the potential lightning.
Yes.
I think Petros is just jealous of his speed, but no, that's a good point. Maybe he's just Ray Leaks used to be able to do that in high school, right? You're not in high school, just like these college guys. The college guys that go to the pros that think they can get it outside when the line, the defensive end is faster than they are. So I mean, when they jump up in these levels, maybe it's just something hard for them to break, an old habit that I'm sure that he will work his way out of.
Yeah, one other thing I noticed in the game was possibly our only really good kickoff return of the year, maybe our second. Was that Raleek or was that Taj? Do you guys remember that when we got it up to the 45?
That was Raleek.
Yeah. So again, he starts going north and south, and you get somewhere. But yeah, he did start that off with a nice move.
And I think in the first one he got out to the 28. So I mean, we're getting better, right? We're not getting stopped inside the 20 anymore. But how about this?
Yeah.
How many flags on both teams on special teams plays on kick? It seemed like every kick and every punt, it seemed like there was a flag thrown. I remember. I can't remember who it was, but on the radio broadcast, it was either Arbogast brought up that point. It's like every single kick, every kickoff, every single punt, the Pac-12 is throwing a holding penalty on every single time.
And Papadakis said the same thing when that one went off and there were no flags. He said and no flags.
Yeah, that 40-yard run, I was looking for a flag because I was like, oh my God, no flag. It's amazing. But I'll credit the referees because that first safety, right? I'm yelling from my seat. That was grounding. There was nobody. He threw it away. He was in the tackle box. And
Yeah.
the went down. And they called it right. They called it right immediately. So that was good to see.
Was it immediate? Because on TV,
Oh no,
looked
it took a
bit
while.
slow.
No, he was. They were thinking about it. I think they conferred to make sure. I think they did the right thing. They did kind of confer to make sure, and then he threw it. But the problem was when he dropped back, first he turned his right, and then he went left, and like Rick said, he didn't get outside the tackles. There was no way he did. So yeah, that was absolutely a great call.
He wasn't even close.
Yeah, they conferred, but I saw the flag on. Once the flag went, okay, it was going to be intentional grounding. That was the call that you had to make, and they did.
Yeah.
How did you guys feel about the USC offensive line tonight? Good, bad, somewhere in the middle? How do you think they did?
I thought they were pretty in the middle. We're still pretty injury ridden.
And there were some free rushers that really, it looked like they couldn't even chip or anything. They just came right through the line. That's why you saw a couple of those sacks against Caleb where they just came, there was one play where the guy came on the edge, right? And the guy came right up the middle. So Caleb couldn't roll out to the outside because there was a guy there being blocked, but still blocking. And that guy came right at him. There was nowhere for him to go. And then a couple of those, they just swallowed up the pocket. So there's some work to be done. But like Tony said, we're playing, second string. And then later on, what I really liked, Austin, is we got to see a little bit of the future with some of the linemen that came in. I mean, there's a lot of stuff on social media. I keep forgetting the dude's name, but there's a guard that we have that like does the splits and all sorts of stuff. But he had a great block to spring one of those first downs late in the game. So it's
Cooper Lovelace.
That's it. Thank you, Rick. Lovelace. He's very athletic and he looked quick, and it looks like when you have you're pulling your your tackle and your guard on some of these plays, especially on those like Riley likes to pull. Well, there's all the times they're pulling. That guy's going to be so athletic and get out in front. It's going to be amazing to watch him. So it's good. I'm really high on the depth. I was worried about our offensive line depth. That was one of the reasons why I thought that we were going to lose 4 games this year because I thought we were going to lose some linemen. I'm not as worried now because we've been playing with backups and doing well. Like Tony said, not great, but in the middle, which is all you need with this offense. With Riley calling the plays, with the skill players we have, we don't need an all-world offensive line. We just need them to give him time protection. And like Rick was saying, these guys love to get out and run block. Man, you give these guys are nasty. Let them get out there and block. That's exactly what they want to do.
So I did have a question for you guys. I'm wondering what you guys, think about UCLA. Look, this was not a top team today. We got our acts together. We looked good. But do you think we can pull it off against, a surprisingly good UCLA team that's mostly made up of like 6-year seniors or whatever they are?
Who, as we found out this week, can name pi to like the 40th digit? It's a really good question. I think we can. Whether we will or not is a really, really good question.
I know we can't start slow.
Good practice for us.
Yeah, I know we can't start slow. Those two, the teams we're going to play. Well, sorry, hoops, not Notre Dame, but UCLA can score really quick and in bunches. So they can't afford to take the first quarter off. Heck no. No,
and not only that, but I in all honesty, if we don't have Eric Gentry back, I don't think we win. I think that our defense, he and that giant giraffe wingspan fill a gap that is necessary for us to fill, and we don't have anybody else that can fill it and beat a team like UCLA. We could probably beat Notre Dame without him, but I don't think we beat UCLA without him.
I agree with you, because if you saw tonight, they had, I think, like a 40-yard run and a 27-yard run, and that's Colorado. If Charbonnet's healthy, which I know he probably will be, he might not play. They're saying he might not play against Arizona or be limited, but he'll be playing against USC. And Charbonnet, you give him that much space, he's going to take it to the house. So they're very capable.
If Colorado can get those kinds of runs tonight,
right,
you see Charbonnet is going to be ugly, and so is Jake Bobo.
But the thing that I like about USC is what we saw tonight and what Tim talked about. The offensive line, a lot of guys are getting reps. We can have the confidence that we can keep our guys fresh. The defense is going to be, critical. Even if we don't have Gentry, I still think we find a way because offensively we have so much depth. You're seeing the emergence of Rayleigh Brown. I think a guy who really stood out tonight was Austin Jones. So when Travis Dye went down, I'm like, wow, because all these other guys weren't getting a lot of touches. But Austin Jones basically said, I'm here, man. I'm ready to tote the rock. And Rayleigh's going to be there. And Darwin Barlow, oh my God, that guy's kind of what happened to him. And he showed in garbage time. Now, great, he's going to have a little confidence. So we just have so many offensive weapons that I don't know how UCLA is going to keep up with us. If we don't turn the ball over, we're going to be fine.
But obviously that's where I think we get to the John Wilner question. John Wilner keeps asking about the USC UCLA game. 2 questions.
Yeah.
1, who's going to be the first team to 60? And 2, how much will they lose by?
Yeah. Well, and the other thing too is that DTR, he's had a great year, but he made a few mistakes against Oregon. And I think, you saw Kalen Bullock, right? And he's going to have to account for Kalen Bullock's speed. And, he doesn't practice against it. And I think our secondary has shown that we are very opportunistic when it comes to creating turnovers. So we've done that all year now. It's not a fluke. And so it's going to be a great game. And special teams, that's the variable because we haven't played well in special teams. We have to kick our field goals. We have to make them all of our extra points, but we have to lock them down on punt and kickoff returns.
Yeah, and make sure you brought up Charbonnet, and they better work on their tackling a bit. I mean, it was nice to see that Lee's back and healthy because he was also making his tackles. But I saw even in this game, I saw some missed tackles, and I've seen him bounce off good tacklers. So I really hope these guys hit those. If it's dummies or what do they got to do? I don't know if they can this late in the season how much tackling they're doing practice. Man, if they miss tackles on him, the people just bounce off him and he's gone. So yeah, I hope they work on that.
Here's an interesting, I just guess observation or question for you guys. I'm sorry, we got Austin on the line, and was it DMAC?
Yes.
DMAC, where are you from?
I'm from LA, but I live in Japan.
Okay. Oh, okay. What time is it right now in Japan?
It is almost 5 p.m.
All right. Well, here's a question, DMAC, for you that I'm wondering is, okay, this is SC UCLA rivalry, but how many of these guys doesn't mean anything to them, right? We have all these transfers, and we have this coaching staff that, with the exception of Dante Williams, never coached in this game before. So that is going to be interesting. Is how do you manufacture it's a big game. We know it, but it's not a rivalry game. And same thing for UCLA. They have a lot of transfers as well. So that's going to be an interesting dynamic you could talk about it, but really these guys like Caleb Williams, Jordan Addison, Latrell McCutcheon, Becky Blackman, they didn't grow up in LA and face these guys in 7-on-7 in high school. So that's just I guess an interesting observation I was thinking about is this is going to be a little bit different because it's not your true SC UCLA rivalry.
Yeah, I don't know if it works to our advantage though, because so many times USC is almost always the better team, right? Yes. And UCLA gets us because it's a rivalry game and because they're up for it and they pull out a few kind of special plays out of their back pocket that they've been saving all year for us. And they beat us because I think a lot of times, the players, hey, these are kids, right? It gets into their heads. It's a big game, all that, right? but maybe it's an advantage to have these guys that are from all over and they're not quite as steeped in the tradition.
Sure.
Because what I see is, I think they're, they look incredibly tight for a group of guys who just came together this year, and they're focused on winning.
Yeah.
Right.
And Travis Dye was a huge piece of that, from what we're told.
Yeah.
Well, I will say this: there are still a lot of guys on this team that were on the team last year, and they got their asses handed to them last year. So if anyone needs a reminder of what UCLA did, and by the way, I'm pretty sure UCLA has been chirping all year at the USC guys. So I'm not sure. I think that there is going to be a bone to pick, because there's guys like Thule. He was there for that ass kicking, right? Figueroa, he was there for that ass kicking. So these guys will be extra motivated. A lot of guys on the some guys on the defense are going to remember that game. The guys on the offensive line, maybe they're going to be a little more pissed off when they're blocking next Saturday. So I don't know, Rick. I mean, there's a lot of guys on both lines that are definitely going to remember what happened last year.
I agree with that too. I think what they won't have, though, that might be that kind of X factors. They won't have the spookies, which I think the Trojans, that are usually the better team, that's often why we lose, is we just look a little bit dysfunctional in the UCLA game some years.
Yeah.
We're not as good a team in that game as we are in the other games. And again, they pull out a couple trick plays and then we start looking lost.
Yeah.
And I don't see that happening to this group.
Now, the coaching is far better than it was. The culture is light years better. So that defeatist culture we used to have, under previous coach, when things, do you remember how all of us watched it, right? It was like the cartoon snowball. It's up here, it's really small, and it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. That's what those games felt like. And that's what that UCLA game felt like. It's just that game got away from us, and it was just a big snowball rolling downhill. But these guys are going to remember that game. And it's a rivalry game. It hasn't been as much as it's meant even nationally. So you're right, Rick. A lot of these kids, they're like, USC say, what's that? It doesn't mean anything to them, and it hasn't even really been a big TV matchup at all. So there's a lot to that. But these guys are teammates, and now that they have a year together, you got to tell me that Tule's not going to be at practice screaming and telling these guys that we're going to kick some Bruin ass. I think that they're going to have some leadership on this team that will make sure the guys that transferred in, the guys that are young, they'll make sure they know what the Bruins did and what they want to do to them for revenge. And it's almost a shame that the Gutties aren't ranked ahead of us, because that'd be even more motivation if USC was behind them in the polls and in the playoff standing. So we'll see. Maybe, who knows? Maybe they leapfrog us somehow. Probably not. But that would be some added motivation.
Tim, you brought up a great point too. I think in the Pac-12 show on Wednesday, is that you have a feeling that Lincoln Riley is going to bring up some plays that he hasn't used. He's going to design some plays for UCLA and Notre Dame that he's saving, something that for each of these games. Kind of what DMAC's saying is that UCLA always seems to have some trick plays. I think. Why don't you comment on that, Tim? You had brought that up.
I'm trying to remember. Well, here's in general. I don't remember exactly what I said, but what I do know is that we're talking about Lincoln Riley, and I really do think all of a sudden he comes to USC and people don't give him the props for being the play caller that he is. It was. I know this was from Cody Kessler was talking this week with Keeley about the fact that it's really cool when you get to see just Lincoln's got 2 or 3 plays in his head, right? And he knows, and they go to the line, they do that fake snap, and then he looks, and then Caleb looks over to him, and he knows that's what we're running, and it breaks for 30 yards. And I don't know if it's gonna be like brand new trick plays or anything, but I do think there's some special sauce. And like I was talking about, I think that there's gonna be a lot of film that we looked at this week as they look at how the defense handles whatever Jed Fish in Arizona send at them. I think there's gonna be a lot of low-hanging fruit, let's say, with that, especially with that UCLA secondary, that Lincoln Riley is going to feast on. I'm sorry, I can't remember exactly what I said, Rick, and if I did say it, but again, little plug. If you guys, I forgot, did I know what the name of it is? The podcast that Keeley and Kessler do. Have you guys listened to it? Any of you guys?
I think it's called the Victory Podcast.
That's it. That is an amazing show. And if you guys are Trojan fans and you're not watching that, just like the other people we talked about, the Reign of Troy people, if you're not watching these great people talking about USC, you're crazy. Oh.
So
T-Mac.
in the UCLA
You're on
USC game, the defenses, how important are both of the defenses going to be in regarding to who wins the game? Because like you said last year, Tim, UCLA put a hurting on USC. Do you think this time around it'll be the offenses will be both exploding and it's just going to come down to whose defense makes that first stop? Or do you think it's just going to be an offensive explosion and no defense whatsoever?
I think it might come down to the turnovers, right? If USC can pull off a couple of those turnovers on D, that's going to be the difference.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds cliche, but that they're winning the turnover battle, and all year USC has done that. They've taken care of the ball really well, and it's going to be a shame if we go in that game next week not having Jordan Addison and that's a given. I'm just thinking about right now on offense because people. I looked at the stats, and if you go back 3 games. Going back 4 games now, there's a huge drop off because people forget that Gentry got hurt in the 4th quarter against Utah. We lost that game by 1 point on a 2-point conversion.
There's a huge drop off.
Yeah.
We might be looking at 9-0 right now if Gentry had not got hurt in that 4th quarter, especially on the goal line twice.
Yeah,
I'm not saying it happens. I'm not saying we stop them, but having Gentry in that play, who knows what happens, right? So the numbers have. We have I wouldn't say elite. We had some elite numbers when we had all those guys together, especially like red zone defense with the angry giraffe in there. It was elite. We were like in the top 10 in red zone defense for a while there. And if anyone thinks that it's not because of him, you're crazy. And I think this was on Ryan's show. He's talking about how, especially when you get the red zone and the field compresses. When you compress the field and you got a 6'6" guy with a 7-foot wingspan in a compressed field, imagine how that multiplies things. So I mean, it's we're missing him and it's huge. Getting him back, if we're going in healthy, then I'm really not worried about UCLA. I can't believe I'm saying that, but if we're healthy on both sides of the ball and they're 100% healthy, we win that game.
I think so too. I think I think we all know the weakness on both sides is the defense. If we got up, like you guys said, if we get to a slow start like we did today on offense, we're done. This is our best strategy is shoot out and get 1 or 2 takeaways and then just win on possessions, period. And it doesn't matter if it takes 5 minutes or 15 minutes to score a touchdown, as long as you're the one who holds the ball that whole time. And
no field goal and not kicking field goals.
And not kicking field goals.
And again, with Gentry, I think that's what we do. I think we hold teams to field goals. And then the close games, like you said, Tony, you kick field goals, you're not going to win a game. So especially with our offense, that was part of our secret sauce early in the year.
Another interesting thing I would like to point out is USC's defense going to try to make UCLA one-dimensional? Make them either run the ball or make them pass the ball, make them pick one or the other, and not let them get the combination going of handing the ball off and then doing the screens and getting all this short dink and dunks and setting it up 2nd and 4, 3rd and 1s.
If we don't have Gentry, I don't know that we're going to be able to make a pick like that.
I don't think you can make UCLA one-dimensional because of DTR's versatility. And a back like Charbonnet. If anything, I'm not really concerned about the passing game as much as I am about DTR running the ball and Charbonnet running the ball. Yes, they have Bobo, but and they got Loya, but their receivers don't really put a lot of fear in me versus the running ability. So it's really about take your chances, commit to stopping the run and containing DTR. Easier said than done because we haven't been able to set the edge all year, even with Gentry. So that's going to be the challenge. But
And it might be
it's creating the turnovers, as D-Mac said. If we win the turnover battle, we're going to have short fields. Look at that forced fumble today. Okay, that was in their territory. It was like, I think they were at their 30-yard line, 30, 25-yard line where we got that forced fumble. We had a short field.
All right, guys, let's make a final call out because we're going to wrap up in just a few minutes. So there's anybody else in the chat that wants to join, I'm just going to put the link in one more time. We would love to have you guys dial in as well. Keep talking, by the way, everybody.
If you put that link in, well, there's two things, Rick, and you guys tell me this, okay? What are two things that you don't like to see on the other team's offense that really make you worried? You want to give me mine? Again, maybe it's a hangover from previous regimes, but I don't like to see a mobile quarterback, and I don't like to see tall receivers. And guess what, folks? They got a tall, fast receiver and a very mobile quarterback. So that part of it, I'm really hoping that we can
actively studies the defense to see who he can hurdle.
So, Tim, what have I been saying this whole time? What do you need to do offensively if you're USC and you're going against that type of offense?
Rick wants to make sure that we run and possess the ball and have sustained drives to keep them off the field.
There you go.
Which I'm with, but not at the expense, of the rhythm of the offense. That's what I worry about. And also remember this, Rick. I think they're going to try to take away the run. I really do. And if you see a heavy box, you try to run to a heavy box. Early in game, they did have, they had. I thought at one point they had they're running like a 5-2, but they weren't. They were bringing guys up. There was a heavy box early. I'm going to watch it again, but they were committing to the run early on.
Well, here's something that hasn't really been featured in the offense. We've seen glimpses of it, but it's the RPO with Caleb Williams, is the fake handoff and then him running. Okay. We saw that with the 2 touchdowns today, but we haven't really seen a lot of it throughout the year.
They fooled the cameraman on that today.
Yes. And then also earlier in the game, Caleb was extending the play going east and west. The blocking was pretty much phenomenal. But the one time he committed to go north and south and he got that 17-yard run towards the USC sideline, that's what we need from Caleb Williams. I think if we're doing RPOs and then you don't know if the running back's going to run it or Caleb is going to run it for positive north and south yardage, I think that is going to be something that UCLA is going to have to account for. We haven't really shown a lot of it this year, so maybe we see a little bit more of it in the UCLA game, and we put them on their heels having to deal with a dual threat quarterback.
I mean, we did it a lot early. We did it in Rice. We did it in that first half in Stanford when the offense was just a beautiful thing to watch. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what we've really been missing over the last few games, I think, are the two things. The one that we just mentioned is not doing enough kind of design plays for Caleb. And the other is Caleb always going for something big instead of just taking, he had Austin Jones, right in front of him 3 or 4 different times tonight, where he didn't give him that pass and then he ends up throwing it out of bounds, or he's holding on for the big play.
Hold on one sec. D-Mac, just one sec, because Gixxer Squid's got to go. Gixxer Squid, thank you very much for that super chat. We really appreciate it. That helps Mark a lot. Thank you very much, truly. And Gixxer Squid, we love you. We need you to call in more often. I know you got to head to bed. Thank you very much for that. Sorry to interrupt, but I want to make sure we caught it. I want to caught him before he headed to bed.
Yeah, $20, man. That's the most I've seen. Yeah. So, do you guys agree?
Gixxer's awesome. He's a really good guy.
I didn't. What I saw in Rice, and I didn't feel like it was because it was Rice. I felt like it was because Lincoln was kind of doing something a little different in that game than he's really done in the other games, and Caleb too, maybe. In that they were really mixing it up. You never knew what was coming on, from one play to the next. And if they didn't run it, they were passing it, and and obviously Caleb is also he's a master of deception. As far as quarterbacks go, I mean, some guys are really good at this, and he fools the cameraman every game. He fools us every game, right? I mean, and I remember, playing a little bit when I was younger, and down at field level, there's just so much you can't see, right? So Caleb was really kind of a master at that, but I just want to see him sling it and keep it moving, even if it's a 5-yard pass, because Austin Jones getting it 5 yards ahead is good for another 5, and that's your first down, or 15, who knows, right? But get him the ball, even with a couple guys getting close, he'll make a move and turn it into something big. So Caleb needs to kind of let the other guys have their chance to make the big plays too, instead of thinking, well, if I hold on to this ball for 15 seconds, I'm going to be able to make a big play. Because what I'm seeing is the longer he holds on to it, the fewer big plays we're actually getting out of it as the season goes on.
I totally agree with that. It's okay to check down, because look what happens when you get our athletes in space. You saw what Rayleigh can do. You saw what Taj can do. Not to say that that's going to happen every time, but like you had mentioned, you get the ball to Austin Jones, you get that 5 or 6 yards, but maybe that 5 or 6 yards turns into 20. But holding onto the ball and throwing a 40-yard pass, maybe on the run where it's hurried, it's a low percentage throw, and that stalls out a drive. And then you put your defense at risk because you got to punt the ball and they're back on the field. That's not the strong suit of your team. Play to your strength, which is the offense. Keep the drives going.
Well, when you have the athletes, like you're both saying, when you have the athletes, the thing is it's a little bit different now, I believe, because we have to realize we have great receivers, but you don't just replace guys like Mario Williams and Jordan Addison. I mean, the guys we have are awesome young guys, and what Michael Jackson showed us last game, and what Taj has been showing us all year long. They're studs. But the other two, it seemed early on in the game, for some reason, early in the season, you could throw the ball to Mario Williams in a crowd, and somehow he'd get through that crowd and get in for a touchdown. Just that ability to just move through it. And this last play with Taj Washington, that's what it reminded me of. It reminded me of Addison and Mario Williams getting that ball and just going wham, gone. That's been missing from this offense, and I've been bemoaning the fact that he does not look at that middle or the short pass for the last 3 weeks or so, and that's what's made a lot of our drive stall. Yeah, you end up getting a penalty and then you get behind the sticks.
Yeah,
Austin Jones did it today too. He just it's kind of an amazing stumble his way into the end zone, getting around people.
Yeah,
they can all do it. We've got such players out there. It's get the ball out of your hands in 3 seconds.
I just think that number 3 and number 4 do it better than anyone on our team. I think that's what we're missing right now.
Yeah. I thought Taj catching that pass and that quick turn and then just dash for the end zone was
amazing.
It's textbook. That's what you want to teach, right? You see guys turn and look. He's turning and running, and that's why he got it.
Talking about deception, though, have you guys brought it up already? I heard rumors that there's always been comparisons. This is going to happen, right? That he's being compared to Mahomes. But I heard that Mahomes also did a no-look pass in a game. I don't watch the NFL. Someone told me about that recently. I thought it was him. But
I don't watch the Chiefs.
Did you guys see that little flip that he threw?
Oh, yes.
No look, almost like a Magic Johnson no look. It was just like a little pass. The guy is amazing. And
that was the one where Austin Jones then turned that into a touchdown.
Yes.
Right? It was just, and that's what I felt like Caleb was doing, earlier in the season more, was being a little bit more creative instead of just kind of, okay, I'm going to scramble and wait until one of my receivers gets open, even if it takes half the game.
Yeah.
Just get it out in a few seconds and give someone a chance. And if not, move on to the next play, because everybody's spectacular, right? So give them all their chance.
And there must be some really good blocking.
Doesn't have to be him.
Yeah, there must be some really good blocking going on, because another thing, and we're in the Pac-12, and there's plenty of flags. If you're going back and forth and you're making your offensive linemen change directions like that, left, right, you're going to get that holding call. And as we play more difficult teams, we're not going to be able to pick up that 3rd and 18, that 3rd and 23 play, if you're getting these holding penalties, I don't want to take away what he does, and that is his ability to scramble and make plays happen. But I think I remember early in the season where he just do that quick pass. It was like boom and it was out, boom and it was out. Now he's kind of doing the Fran Tarkenton thing, and the just running around and running 40 miles, running from sideline to sideline and then dumping it off, or throwing it away. And I'm afraid that might come back to haunt us if we're on a drive or whatever, and we get that holding call in the UCLA game. If it turns into a shootout, every drive is going to matter. So that's also something I've noticed is he's just not getting the ball out quick like he was before.
That's it, right? It's it's not a successful strategy because it ends up in what you just said, dumping it off or an incomplete pass.
And that might be the instability. Like we keep saying how great our receivers are. That might be being unfamiliar. A lot of plays that we think that's a bad throw by the quarterback, and it's not. He's just not on the same page with his receiver, and that's been a problem. That's been a problem with guys we get a lot of reps with. These guys are making great plays, but I'm sure he absolutely misses guys like Jordan Addison and Mario Williams, where he did all those reps in the spring and in the fall and the first 5-6 games of the season. And now all of a sudden he's relying on new guys, young guys, and they just don't seem to be on the page. So it's
Rice drops the ball. Rice drops the ball a lot. I mean, there's a lot more drop passes the last couple of weeks, and that's that's partly on the miscommunications that you're talking about, and it's partly on these receivers who, I mean, when I saw Rice starting this game instead of like Washington, Ford, some of the guys who've really been producing over the last few weeks, I was disappointed. He proved me wrong. He got a touchdown. He had a couple good catches, but I think it was his first pass he dropped. And I'm just going, what is this guy even doing out there?
Yeah.
Maybe his dad being in the stadium makes him nervous. I know my kids don't like it when I come watch their sports.
But it might go back to the report I just said. You know what I mean? Some guys, you want to feed the hot hand and go with them. But if these are the group of guys that he's been throwing to and getting most of the first team reps and most of the plays, to switch it up now, I don't know. You probably want to go with the guy that your quarterback's more familiar with and more comfortable with.
And guys, some of you who don't watch as much of the Voice of College Football channel may not appreciate this, but we just got a ringing endorsement from King of the Ducks, Mr. Eric, that he hopes Oregon gets USC in Vegas. Be a heck of a game.
Yeah, that would be a great game. So we each have games that we have to win. And good luck to Oregon this week against Washington. They win out, and we win next week. We can make that happen in Vegas.
Hey guys, as we get ready to wrap up here, DMAC, give us your final thoughts on the game tonight.
Look, like I said, I thought it was great overall. I think there was a lot of development. I saw one comment, someone saying, we don't want to be talking about development in week 10, but I think I like Lincoln Riley's kind of philosophy of every week is development and you're working up to something. The guys, 9-1, come on, and everything ahead of us. I mean, we went out. I mean, you don't even want to say it, but to see the Trojans back now, there's a lot of frustration because a lot of us still have a lot of pent up frustration from over the last few years, and when anything goes wrong, we kind of react in the way we've become used to. I hope people can appreciate this and enjoy this run a little bit more. And I watch the press conferences with Lincoln every week, and I think he's doing a great job of kind of pushing that philosophy onto the players. Like, let's enjoy this. I mean, think of where you were last year at this time. So it was a great game. 9-1, probably the worst thing about 9-1, other than losing to the Pac-12 refs, is that it means the season's going to be over soon. And then what do we do with ourselves?
Very true. Hey, well, thank you so much for calling in. We're glad to have you, and hope you'll call in next week. We'd love to have your thoughts on the big game.
Great call, D-Mac.
Great show as always. I love watching your show. It's the first time I finally got a YouTube login and stuff. But yeah, I've been watching you guys forever and just love
thank you.
So thank you guys.
Hey, seriously, we would love to call in earlier. We would love to have you next week too.
Great caller.
All right, we'll do.
Thanks. Take care. Fight on,
guys. Bye.
LBC.
Some final words. Is that where we're at right now?
We're there.
Hey man, I'm just prayers for Travis Dye. The guy's a warrior. That broke my heart when he went down, because you could tell that he was not getting up. And then when he stood up to get on the cart, I thought I saw his left leg kind of buckle. He couldn't put any weight on it. So don't know what the leg injury is, but his injury gave opportunity to others. Rayleigh Brown got more touches. Austin Jones got more touches. Darwin Barlow got into the game. And so, yes, it was Colorado. USC started out slow, but they took care of business. And there was development, as D-Mac mentioned, because there's a lot of depth on this team, guys that don't get a lot of chances. We saw that in the fourth quarter with Miller Moss, the other offensive linemen, because in the next 2 games, or possibly 3 games and a bowl game, other guys potentially can go down, and it's going to create other opportunities for guys to step up, right? Because that's why they work hard in spring and fall camp, is when their number is called, they have to go create that opportunity. We saw that tonight. So yes, it was against Colorado, but it gives these guys confidence. Hey, we can do it. And this team is very tight. I love the culture, and it's one game at a time. They took care of business, and now UCLA is going to mean something. And so, hey, I'm ecstatic. I've got to go play in a golf tournament. I got to be leaving my house at 6:30, and hopefully I play well enough not to get the Pabst, which I know I will. And then I'm going to enjoy football tomorrow, gentlemen. And as always, I love talking USC football with Tim and Tony on Mark Rogers, the voice of college football, the USC postgame. Thank you, Mark Rogers, for giving this guy the opportunity to talk about the team that I love. Thank you to all the callers that called in tonight, the viewers, a bunch of the regulars. The show is not the show that it is without you guys. And enjoy your Saturdays, gentlemen. Fight on.
Fight on, Rick. Yeah, Rick just kind of stole my thunder. I wanted to say that this game was like literally all the air went out of it for me when Travis Dye went down. I'm not gonna be able to think of the phrase I love so much, no blocky, no rocky. From now on, when I see any USC running back blocking, I'm gonna think of Travis Dye, because the guy's been amazing for us. And going into the season, I didn't even think that we'd be in this position at all. Earlier in the season, when we were on a roll, I said, I don't want to get to the playoffs. I've come full circle now. We don't have a defense. We, in my opinion, don't really have a chance, even if we don't have a chance to win the national championship. However, I know we're not going to get embarrassed. And so for the future, I absolutely want to get into the playoffs. Just simply say that I don't have to hear ever again that, USC hasn't made it to the playoffs. I think that they have an outside opportunity if they take care of business next week. And if Eric gets his wish and we kick the crap out of the Ducks in the Rose Bowl, I think that would be enough of a resume for USC to get in. And I think with our offense, I don't think anyone's going to be able to blow us out. So we will be in any game that we're up against. It may not be pretty at the very end, but we're definitely not going to get blown out. And I echo Rick's thoughts. It's great every week having people call in. Thank you, D-Mac. It was a great first call. I got here late, so I don't know who else called in, but I appreciate all the listeners that are out there spending their late night with us, and I look forward to seeing all the guys next week. Right on.
Right on, Tim. Well, I want to give a thanks again to Tim and Rick for being amazing, to D-Mac and Austin, everybody who called tonight, to Gixxer Squid, amazing friend of the show. Thank you guys. And to Mark Rogers, thank you for letting us be here tonight. But I want to reflect on 2 things really quick before we go. If you guys will stay with me for just 1 minute on 2 things. First of all, guys, this season isn't perfect, but it's amazing. And when we think about where this team came from, the work that has gone in from everybody from President Folt to Mike Bone to Lincoln Riley to their entire team is absolutely unbelievable. And it's exciting. It's exciting for our school. And I think it's going to take our team, regardless of what happens this season, to a great season next year. And then some more excitement in the Big Ten, which is going to be wild, and it's going to be exciting, and it's going to be different. But I also want to give a challenge to you guys from USC who are watching this, and the rest of you guys. I hope you'll indulge us for a minute with the Trojan moment. The Pac-12 is a really special place, and these teams that we've been together with through the PCC and the Big 4, Big 5, Big 6, Pac-8, and Pac-10, Pac-12 now are really special as well. We want them to succeed, and we need them to succeed. So we're probably going to see some stuff happen. There's going to be some changes. We've left, and we're probably going to be replaced by SMU and San Diego State. And those are two up and coming hungry programs. And when they join the Pac-12, guys, let's support them. Let's congratulate them, and let's encourage their success, because this is a conference that we built. And we're always, even though we're moving on, we're always going to be a part of it. And so let's encourage them to have success, and let's celebrate the fact that these two schools with a lot of rich history are doing exactly the same thing we did when we joined the conference in 1915, exactly the same thing we did when we brought in Arizona schools in the 70s, the exact same thing as when we brought in Utah about a decade ago. And they're going to have exactly the same success. They're two phenomenal institutions, and we want the Pac-12 to succeed. We do want them to get rid of Mike Mothershed and a couple other referees, but we want them to succeed. And I hope that we go out on top as the last two conference champions. But no matter what, it's a conference that's important to us, and it always will be. So what an exciting game tonight. We won. We'll take it. It wasn't always pretty. We beat the spread. We did what we had to. We beat a team that we were supposed to, and we beat them good. So I want to give finally two shout outs to two amazing guys from fraternity that are really, really just phenomenal young men who do our school proud. Will Rose, your backflip was awesome. I don't care how many flags they threw at you for it. That was awesome. And Miller Moss, you did us proud tonight. And I know that we are in very, very, very good hands when we need you. So, guys, in Hoke and fight on. We'll see you all Wednesday night for the Pac-12 Chat Show Live, and we'll see you next week after the UCLA game. Fight on, Trojans.